discussed about the theoretical aspects of meta-analysis. And now we'll have a practical session on that. So I welcome the resource person and all the participants to this session. Sir?
Yes. Thank you, madam. So let's start. Hopefully most of the applicants, most of this, my friends have downloaded this software. Although there is some problem in the Mac, I will advise just simply note it down point by point, and you can do it by yourself because the software is very, very easy to use. That's why we are paying them. Since it is getting paid, that's why it's very easy. Like RevMan is a little bit tough if you compare with this CMA. So today I'm going to, I have already shared 3 files. One file is for chi-square, another file is for t-test, another is file for correlation. So these 3 type of data will try to perform the meta-analysis in these 3 types of data. So let's start with chi-square data. So I will request everybody to open their chi-square data. So I will conduct it first, then we will conduct all together again. So we'll repeat twice all this meta-analysis, okay? So at first, open the software and don't close it. Once if you close it, you are losing 1 chance. So it's just 10 chance in your hand. So don't close it, just keep it open. So I'm sharing the screen first, then ma'am, please enable me. I'm unable to share my screen. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So please let me know whether my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whenever you open this software, at first you'll have a welcome screen like this. And it's having 5 options. As your version is a trial one, so click the first one, that is run the trial. Sorry. It's my purchase one, so I'm not getting the trial version in it. And you have to click the run the trial version, then simply click OK. Or you can directly close this, that also, no problem. So this is the main window of this CMA software. If you look at the data provided to you, try to open the chi-square data. In chi-square data, so let's see the question in chi-square data. Study the efficacy of drug A against the COVID-19 related death by using meta-analysis tool. It means so far a literature survey was conducted till date by the using of drug A. What is the efficacy against this COVID-19 treatment? It means if you look at the total number of study, this data sheet contains 6 studies. I have mentioned A et al, but you have to use the last name of the author, et al, and year also. Since this is for example point of view, so I have just mentioned A et al, B et al, C et al like this. So what happened, whenever we search our database, as I told you, you can search different type of database. It may be your Google Scholar, it may be your PubMed, it may be your Scopus, whatever else. After searching the database, we found, based on our exclusion and inclusion criteria, 6 studies were fit for this meta-analysis. If you look at the first study, that is the A et al., where they have used drug A in total 161 cases. And after the treatment with drug A for a certain period of time, it may be follow-up date, maybe 15 days or 30 days or whatever it may be. It is uniform for all studies. So after 30 days, suppose, they got, out of this 161, 9 patients were died. Similarly, in the same study, they have enrolled 81 cases, 81 COVID-19 infected cases, and those 81 were treated with placebo. Placebo means these are exactly similar to the drug, and in color, in texture, in size, everything is similar. And all the studies, 6 studies, are randomized controlled trial, that is double blind type. It means both the patients and the doctors don't know whether they are administrating a patient with a drug or they are administrating the patient with a placebo. It's completely double blinded. So after the treatment and follow-up for 30 days, A et al. Observed that 9 patients died with drugs A, and 3 patients died with drug placebo, right? Similarly, B et al. Also, they have taken 294 cases administered with drug A and found 57 individuals died, and 144 placebo subjected with the placebo and observed 27 individuals died. As the data are in percentage format, how many individuals died with drugs A, how many individuals died with the placebo. If you are going to compare among these two groups, then chi-square test is the most appropriate one to investigate. So A et al. Has already published their finding. Similarly, B et al. Also published their finding, and up to F et al. They have already published their findings. And those literature, those papers were downloaded and the data were extracted here, and we have prepared one table, right? Now we'll go to meta-analysis software. So first step of the meta-analysis software, you have to enter the author's detail in the first column. In the A row, sorry, not in the A column, you have to include the author name. To include the author name, you have to follow one step. The step is go to the insert, click the insert, then column 4, next come to the study name. Okay, again, I'm repeating this one, insert, column 4, then study name. Then what are the study you had? You have to simple copy and paste here. We have 6 studies. So let me copy from this Word file, and I'm pasting this in the software. Okay. So all study name were inserted here. Second step, so after adding the study name, second step, you have to decide which meta-analysis you are going to perform based on your data. If you look at our data, our data consists of 2 groups, right? In one group, we have taken drugs. In another groups, we have taken placebo. And in both groups, we have treated the COVID-19 patient and looked for death. So which kind of data set we have to select? Next, go to the second step is, go to same thing, go to insert, click column 4, then come to effect size data. So second step would be insert column for effect size data. After clicking the effect size data, automatically it will go for a tutorial, and you have to go through all these lines here. Whenever you know free time, you can go through, or else simply click the word next. Click the next. Now, out of these 4 points, comparison of 2 groups, time point or exposure, first option. Second option, estimate of mean proportion of rate in one group at one point of time. And whatever we are going to perform today, all data will fall on the first group, that is comparison of 2 groups, time point or exposure. Next, click simple. You have to click the next. Here you have to define which kind of data you have. Whatever the data we have taken, this is a dichotomous data. We are having 2 groups here. So click the dichotomous first, then which kind of dichotomous, whether it is a meshed or unmeshed. If it is meshed, then which kind of data? So if you look at the data, these are not meshed, these are unmeshed, because randomly we have taken a COVID-19 patient for treatment with drug A, one group, another group for placebo. These are so unmeshed, they are not meshed group. So click the unmeshed group. After clicking unmeshed group, which kind of data you have? We are having events and sample size in each group. As I told you, death is the event here. How many individuals died? And sample size. We are having the total sample size. In drug treatment cases, how many sample we are having? In placebo group, we are having how many patients we have considered. So we have the data, events, and sample size in each group. So you have to click the first one, events and sample size in each group. And if you have chi-square data already calculated, and if your sample size, then also you can click or select this one. But as our data, we are having events and sample size in each group. Select the events and sample size in each group, then click finish. So after clicking finish, it will create 7 different cells, 7 different columns, and one pop-up window will come up to define which one is your case and which one is your control. Here, what would be the case? Case are the subject where we have administrated the drugs, and the control are the groups where we have administrated the placebo. So you have to name this, like first one, this is the drugs. Second one is the placebo. Next, what was the outcome? If you look at the outcome, we are scoring death, and second one is the survivor. Okay, so the first one, name of the first group, those are treated with a drug. So I have named as a drug. Second group, those are treated with placebo. So I have used the word placebo here. And what was the outcome? What we have scored? We have scored the number of individuals died after the treatment with the drugs, and number of individuals die after the treatment with placebo. So I named it as death and survivors, right? Now click apply and click OK. So you have already, by this step, you have already prepared your meta-analysis table. Those are ready to be enter the data. Now data has to be entered. So first column, what you have to do, it is drugs and death. It means you have to include, you have to enter the data of number of individuals died. Those are treated with drugs. In second column, drugs total N. It means total number of individuals administered with drugs. In third column, placebo death, number of individuals died, those are treated with placebo. And in fourth column, placebo total N. It means total number of individual you have considered for placebo administration. So let me copy paste the data from the Word file. First one was a drug, subject administrative is drugs, and those died. So here, first one. Second one, total number of subjects of respective studies administered with drugs. This is the second column. Third column, subjects those are administered with placebo but died. This is the third one. Then the fourth one, total number of placebo administered individual. So if you arrange it properly, you can copy paste instantly also. Okay. So next, after entering the data in 4 different columns, automatically by default, the software will calculate the odds ratio. Don't look at this odds ratio right now. So at the time of presentation, I have mentioned 3 different tests has to be performed by the software. First one is publication biasness. If the data that you have entered, the results that you have entered is publication bias, then you have to adjust that value. So first we'll test for publication bias. Second, we'll perform the heterogeneity test. And third, we will perform the sensitivity analysis. So for the publication biasness, we will follow 2 methods. First method would be visualization method, that is the funnel plot. Second method will be Aggar's regression test. And you have to look for the p-value of Aggar's regression test. So let me show you how to analyze. First step, click Run Analyze. You can find here left side, extreme left, Run Analyze. So this is the analyzed data. So what was our first step? First step has to look for this funnel plot. How to get the funnel plot? Go to the Analyze, click Analyze, and go for the publication bias. Again, I'm repeating, after getting this analyzed data, first Run Analyze, you'll get this kind of figure similar to the forest plot. Then go to Analyze, Publication Bias. In publication bias, this is the funnel plot. Look at the funnel plot. First thing is that the circle one is each study, value for each study. So all circles or all dots has to be remain inside the funnel. This is appropriate. And it should be symmetrically distributed. So we have taken 6 study, 3 study in the right side and 6 study in left side. So looking at the funnel plot, you can say that there is no publication biasness in our included study. But the most appropriate test is Aggar's regression test. So after plotting this funnel plot, you can save this funnel plot. How you can save it? Go to the file, save as WMF file. So each and every funnel plot has to be saved for future reference. Let me save this. Funnel plot for chi-square test. So it's already saved. So next, second was you have to go for Aggar's regression test. How to go for Aggar's regression test? From this funnel plot, click the table option. First one is the core analysis, second is the table. So if you click the table option, you will get classic fail shape It is not our interest. Click again the table, keep on clicking. Next table, it's also not required for us. Next table here. This is the Eggers regression intercept. And for the Eggers regression intercept, you have to note down 3 points, 3 values. First value is intercept, that is 1.13. So it is crucial because at the time of communication of your manuscript, you have to mention all this value. So its intercept is 1.13. Then 95% CI, confidence interval, you have to mention upper limit and lower limit both. So lower limit is minus 1.16 and the upper limit is 3.44. And if you look at the p-value, probability value, always look for a two-tailed probability value, and two-tailed probability value is 0.24126. So these 3 things you have to note it down. You have to note down the intercept, 95% lower limit, 95% upper limit, and p-value, two-tailed p-value. And if you look at the two-tailed p-value is 0.241. This is not, it's greater than the 0.05. It means publication biasness is not present in this study. Part of the study you have included, this is free of publication bias. If it is free of publication bias, then no need to go for extra step, that is the adjustment of publication biasness. It's okay. So you have to save this funnel plot. Second step, you have to note down the 3 value, intercept value, 95% CI, upper and lower, and p value 210. So with this, we have completed the publication biasness test. Second step, we have to go for heterogeneity test. How to perform the heterogeneity test? First, come to the core analysis, what we have analyzed earlier. Click the extreme left core analysis. This was we have computed earlier. Then go and click the next table. Click the next table. If you click the next table, you can notice here, there is one word you can see here, heterogeneity. Under heterogeneity, you can find Q value, P value, and I square value. So you have to note down all these 3 values for heterogeneity test. So here, the Q value is 3.99, P value is 0.555, and I square value is 0. As I told you earlier, at first you have to look for the P value. P value is greater than 0.05. It means whatever the study results you have considered here, those are homogeneous. These are not heterogeneous. Okay. And if you, and this is further supported by the I square value. I square value more than 50% is heterogeneous. Since it is the 0, it means the whatever the study results you have considered for meta-analysis, this is purely homogeneous. And based on the results of the heterogeneity, you have to decide which model you have to use for the meta-analysis. If the studies are homogeneous, then if the study are homogeneous, then you have to choose which model. The model would be fixed effect model. And if the study are heterogeneous, then you have to choose random effect model. Next we'll go. So with this, we have completed our heterogeneity test. And here the result was study whatever we consider that is homogeneous. It's not heterogeneous. Since these are homogeneous, at the time of meta-analysis, we will choose fixed effect model. Next, go to the next table. This is the meta-analysis plot. And based on the heterogeneity test, we have to use which model? Fixed model. By default, it will take fixed model, but if you wish, you can change it to random also. In random, if you click random, the whole result will be changed. But as per our Q value statistics, I square value statistics, P value statistics, the study that we have considered are homogeneous. Thus, we have to choose the fixed effect model. So this is the forest plot for fixed effect model. For proper resolution, you have to click the higher resolution plot in third tab, higher resolution plot, and you'll get a plot of this meta-analysis in highly resolution. And you can change the color mode here. If you wish, you can perform black and white. That's look good. So here, this is the meta-analysis of plot that you have considered for the analysis, where the first column is the study name, that is A et al, B et al, C et al, whatever else. First, and the second column is the odds ratio. Last column is the p-value, and each horizontal line represents the confidence interval, and each size of the box, it's determine the strength or weight of the study that leads to calculation of this p-value and odds ratio for meta-analysis. And if you look at the last line, the result of the meta-analysis lies on the last line. So if you look at the last line p-value, that is 0.474. And if you look at the odds ratio, this is 1.12. If you look at the p-value, since it is a 0.474, it means this is greater than 0.05. So whatever you have tested, those are statistically not significant. It means the hypothesis that you have drawn, hypothesis you have presumed that administration of drug A minimized the death or increased the death, whatever it was a hypothesis, that hypothesis is wrong. It means the drug A is not working in COVID-19 infected patient. If the p-value would be less than 0.05, then we can say, based on our odds ratio, if it is more than 1, then the drugs is leading towards the death of the individual treating with COVID-19. Or if the odds ratio is lower than 1, then we can say the drug is protective and that can be recommended for future use. And there is another test, whatever the meta-analysis you have performed, to test the robustness of this meta-analysis, you have to perform one sensitivity analysis. In sensitivity, at first, you can save this forest plot. Similar way, file. It got freeze here. Let me close it. I'll do it again. You have to click the file, save as a WMF file. You can rename it. It says forest plot, chi-square. So both funnel plot and forest plot got saved here. Next, we have to test for sensitivity analysis. Return to the table at first. Here, you can find left lower end, one study removed icon. Just click the one study removed icon and it will perform the sensitivity analysis test. And this is the forest plot for sensitivity analysis test. So what does this mean? For example, the first study, A et al. If you remove the first study, then what would be the meta-analysis result? Similarly, for B et al, if you remove this B et al and conduct the meta-analysis in rest of the study, then what would be your finding? What would be the p-value? What will be the odds value? Like that. So removing each and every study, if you find p-value is significantly differ, then that analysis is not valid. Better to remove the study which is hindering this meta-analysis, and you have to perform the reanalysis. If you look at the p-value here, 0.5, 0.4, 0.4, 0.8, 0.3, 0.5, 0.4. And the last one is the actual meta-analysis results. And before that, A et al, whenever you remove the A et al, the meta-analysis result will be this one. So if you look at, if you analyze visually, so removing each and every study, it doesn't hamper the net meta-analysis result. It means the meta-analysis you have performed is robust one. It's a valid one. In this way, you can perform and you can validate your meta-analysis, whether it is robust one or not. Now, quickly, I will perform the same analysis again from the zero and just try to follow this. Okay, so let me open the CMS software first. First step, I have to insert one column for study, insert column for study name. I have to add up all the study name from this Word file. Okay. Next, I have to insert the effect size data. Go to insert column for effect size data. And based on our data format, we have to select dichotomous type, unmatched, events, and sample size in each group. Now click finish. Now I have to copy paste my data. Since it is properly arranged, okay, I have to rename this. This is the drugs. This is the placebo. This is events is there. And this event is survive. Okay. Now take this data and simple copy paste here. Since it is arranged in a proper manner, you have to be cautious. Then go to run analyze. It's the result of the meta-analysis. But first step, we have to go for publication biasness. Go to analyze, publication bias. So this is the funnel plot. If you wish, you can change the color. Here's the color for screen. You have to save this one. Next, go to the next table. Click next table until we reach the Eggers regression test. Here is the Eggers regression test. Note down the intercept, 95% CI, upper and lower limit. Note down the P, two-tailed P value. Now come to the core analysis again. And the second step is to study the heterogeneity. Click the next table, note down the heterogeneity value. If you look at the heterogeneity value, Q value is 3.99, P value is 0.55, and I square value is 0. It shows whatever the study you have taken, those are homogeneous. If those are homogeneous, you have to follow the fixed effect model. Now come back to the earlier analyzed data. Click the fixed model. It's already clicked fixed model. By default, it will be highlighted fixed. Then you can save this meta-analysis figure. At first, you have to go for higher resolution plot. Then you have to save this one. Click the higher resolution, change the color mode, and you can save it. Save as WMF file. Next, return to this main analysis. Next, you have to go for sensitivity analysis. One study remove. Click the one study remove. And this is the result of the sensitivity analysis, which shows the analysis you have performed is a robust one. So in this way, and most of the time, while for publication, people ask for high resolution meta-analysis plot. Suppose if you are having meta-analysis plot, several variables like 10, 20, 30, in that time, you can write up, you can prepare a table and give the final value of the meta-analysis, because you cannot give 30 or 40 figures in one communication. But if you are having 2 or 3 variables, 3, 5 figure, 3, 5 plot, it can be given in this communication. Okay. So next we'll perform another type data set. So chi-square is over. Now we'll go for t-test. So you can look at the data of t-test. Okay, so if you look at the problem of the t-test, investigate the role of CRP in the disease pathogenesis of COVID patient. So COVID-19 is a recent term, but COVID is a very earlier term. It was started in 2007-8 also. So there are several studies. Those deals with CRP is the C-reactive protein. This is inflammatory. The reports those were published, role of CRP in COVID, those were accessed, searched by various search tools, and prepare a master chart that talks about various, that is the author's name in first column. Columns was mean value, mean CRP value, then ST, that is the standard deviation, and then number of samples they have chosen for this investigation. So 3 columns for COVID patients and next 3 columns for healthy controls. So the protein was quantified in patient and healthy control in how many papers are there? 13 publications. Okay. So for example, for first Rakam et al. 2019, they have taken 124 COVID patients, 10 healthy control, and they have quantified the CRP level among them. And they observed a mean CRP value of 82.58 with standard deviation 180.77 in 124 COVID patients. Similarly, in the 10 healthy controls, they observed a mean CRP value of 180.77 and SD value of 1.599. Similarly, all these 12 studies, the data were extracted from these relevant papers, and those will be subjected to meta-analysis. So since we are comparing the CRP levels in 2 different groups, in that case, we have to follow which test? T-test would be more appropriate here. So to conduct a meta-analysis of T-test, we have to follow the similar pattern, but in a slightly different way. So first 3-4 steps will be most common. Let me on it. So file, data entry. Let me start from the first. So let me start this. So this is our software, CMA software. First step is to insert the column for study name, right? Then we have to copy paste the study name from our data. Copy and paste here. Okay. Next, you have to insert the effect size. Insert effect size data. And based on your type of data, only you have to remodulate the effect size data. You have to choose the appropriate effect size data. So next, click next. Next. Now, this is a two-group analysis, right? And this is dichotomous type. So click the dichotomous one. No, not this one. Means continuous one for mean. Upper one is for chi-square. Second one is for mean. Continuous within bracket mean it has mentioned. And if you look at the data, these are unmatched data. So click the unmatched data. After clicking the unmatched data, which kind of data you have? We have data with mean, SD, and sample size. So from the different combination of data type, you have to select the data set which is meant for mean, standard deviation, and sample size in each group, right? So I've selected mean, SD, and sample size in each group. Now we have to click the finish. So effect size data is ready. Now you have to simple copy paste. First one, group A. What is group A? Group A is for treated, that is the COVID. What is group B? This is for healthy control. Apply. Okay. Now you have to copy paste the data. First one is COVID mean. What are the mean you have? This one, COVID patient mean. Simple copy paste this on that column. Second one is COVID standard deviation. So in COVID group, take out the standard deviation and copy paste it here. Third one, COVID total sample size. Is the total sample size. Next, for healthy control, same data set. I'm simply selecting all three columns and copy paste here. Okay. Now there is an extra column here you can find effect direction. For the safer side, effect direction always select auto. Just click it, you will have auto. Just click auto in all columns. So now we are done with data entry. Now we have to go for analysis, and analysis is exactly same what we have done earlier for chi-square test. So go to run analyze. You will get the forest plot, but our first step is to study the publication biasness. How to study? Go to the analyze, click publication bias. You will get one funnel plot. If you look at this funnel plot, most of the study remain outside of the funnel plots. So here, looking at the funnels plot, you cannot predict whether the subject you have entered, whether the study you have entered, having the publication bias net or not. You cannot predict from the funnel plots. So next, go for the statistical test. Click the table. Many times you will have Aggar's regression. If you look at the Aggar's regression, intercept is 10.27, 95% CI is 3.28, upper limit is 17.25, and if you look at the p-value, it is 0.007. It means this is statistically significant. In other words, publication biasness is present in the study that you enter, that you have considered for meta-analysis. So how to adjust this? Go back to the funnel plot again. Click this one, plot observed study, and plot observed and imputed. Click the second one. Again, I'm repeating, plot observed study only. Click, then plot observed and imputed. So by default, it will plot some 2 to 3 more study, hypothetical study, to made one equilibrium condition. Look at this. It's show in red. Let me change the screen color. It will show you 2 black dots. So 2 hypothetical study were included here to minimize the publication biasness. So you have to save this plot, and for future reference, you can click File, Save as WMF file. So this is the funnel plot, and this was the statistics, intercept, 95% CI, and p-value. Okay. So next step, we have to study the heterogeneity. For heterogeneity study, you have to go for core analysis. Next table, note down the heterogeneity test result. Q value is 355, P value is 0.000, and I square value is 96. So any I square value more than 50 is showing heterogeneity. If you look at the P value also supports that heterogeneity exists in this included study. So if the heterogeneity is present, as I told you earlier, which you have to change the model. Which model is most appropriate for heterogeneity? If there is heterogeneity, you have to choose the random model. If there is homogeneity, you have to choose the fixed effect model. So come to the next table, that is the forest plot. Now you have to choose the random effect model. Click the random effect model. And this is the meta-analysis results. If you look at this plot, some of the study, if you look at the confidence interval of some of the study, it's lying beyond 1. So it needs to be adjusted. The scale is need to be expanded so that all study, all CI will be accommodated. Simply right click your mouse, go to scale, and whatever you wish you can put. Now still one of the study is missing from here. So you can increase up to -8. Yeah. Now this forest plot can accommodate all study, all CI you can visualize here. Based on the heterogeneity, we have selected the random model. This is the forest plot. So if you wish, go for the high resolution plot. And you can save this high resolution plot. Go to the file and save as WMF file. So next, last step was to study the robustness of your meta-analysis. So robustness of the meta-analysis can be investigated by sensitivity analysis. So how to perform the sensitivity analysis? Let me share the screen again since it got freeze. Okay, so this is the random model. Now you have to choose one study removed option, that is a sensitivity analysis test. Click it and look at the results. The first one, Rukam et al. If you remove this study, then what would be your meta-analysis result? This is showing this. Similarly, if you remove this study, Talat et al., what would be your meta-analysis finding? If you look at the p-value, after removal of one or other study, p-value doesn't alter here. Most of the p-value at 0.0000 like that. And if you look at the point also, it's 1.9, 1.7, 1. So there is no variation here. It means whatever the meta-analysis you have performed is a robust one. If you see any variation, for example, if you remove this Rukam et al., here, if you observe a p-value of 0.5 or 0.4, then it's advisable to remove the Rukam et al. And reanalyze the meta-analysis again, and don't include the Rukam et al. For this meta-analysis, because this will hamper, this will give you a wrong results of this meta-analysis. So to test the robustness, you have to perform one sensitivity study, and after removal of each and every study in one time, we find here that meta-analysis result of the meta-analysis study remain intact. It means our study meta-analysis result of the meta-analysis is robust, most robust. So next, third one, we'll have correlation. So for correlation, let's first open the file, correlation file. So everything is same, only you have to change the effect size data. You have to decide which effect size data will be appropriate for your data. Only that thing, and most of this analysis are exactly same. So this is the correlation data where two protein marker, that is IL-6 and interferon alpha, IFN alpha, were measured in COVID patient. The study main objective, the aim of the study is to find out whether both are correlated to each other. It means whether if the IL-6 level increases, interferon alpha level increases, or the other way. If IL-6 increases, interferon alpha decreases, or the other way. So whether the positive correlation or negative correlation exists between these two proteins, that can be investigated by meta-analysis. So first study, that Rukam et al., they have already shown, if you look at the R value is the correlation value. If you look at the value, it's 0.45. It means both molecules are positively correlated. Similarly, if you look at the Selvaraj value, R value is minus 0.994. It means those are negatively correlated. So to draw, it's confusing because most of the studies show they're positively correlated. One of the studies showing it's negatively correlated. So to draw a firm conclusion, and another two studies like this, these two studies, if you look at the p-value, those are not significant. It means they are suggesting that there is no correlation exists between IL-6 and interferon alpha. So most of the studies are contradict to each other. So to find a common conclusive decision whether the IL-6 and interferon alpha, what is the status of their correlation, it is a good practice to go for meta-analysis of all reported study, all earlierly reported study, and to draw a firm conclusion whether the correlation between IL-6 and interferon alpha exists. If it exists, in which form? It is positively correlated or negatively correlated. So to do this, we'll follow the same procedure, but you have to change the effect size type, which is best fit for correlation. You have to follow that one. We are having data, number of sample, R value, and P value. And using this data, can we perform meta-analysis? Let's try. So I am going for a new file. First step, as I told you earlier, insert study name. Here all study name has to be pasted here. Second step, insert effect size data. So as our data is correlation type, we have to choose the appropriate data type. If you look at here, correlation, third tab, you can find it correlation, then click computed effect size, and which kind of data you have. We have correlation data and we have sample size data. So the first one, you have to select the first one. Based on your data availability, you have to select the appropriate data set. For our data set of data, we are having correlation data, that is the R value. We are having sample size. So let me choose the first one. Now click the finish. So now we have to define which one is for. Okay. So next, we have to copy paste the correlation data and sample size data. First one is the correlation data. This is correlation data or R value. Second column, sample size data. Third column is effect direction. It means whether it is positively correlated or negatively correlated. If you put default auto, then also it's okay. Based on the symbol of the correlation, automatically it will calculate it. So just put auto in all cell. Okay. Next, as usual analysis, click the run analyze. First step, to study the publication biasness, go to the analyze, click publication bias, and go to the funnel plot. This is the actual funnel plot of this data. If you look at the funnel plot, out of 7 studies, 5 studies remained outside of the funnel plot. And if you look at the symmetric distribution, most of the study, all studies remain towards right hand. By looking at the funnel plot, you can say, yes, publication biasness exists in the included study. So if the publication biasness exists, then you have to, it has to be adjusted by plot observed and imputed. So it will put some hypothetical study here. Let me change the color screen here. So it has added up 3 more hypothetical study to maintain the symmetry. Next, go to this Agus regression value and note down intercept, 95% CI, and p value. Always you have to trust the Agus regression intercept compared to the funnel plot. Funnel plot, by observation, whenever you predict something, you may gone wrong. Always Agus regression test is most appropriate compared to the funnel plot. So you have to note down this for Agus regression test, then go to the core analysis. If you look at the scale here, the confidence interval plot is showing, it's looking like a tiny dot. So the scale has to be minimized. So let me minimize the scale so that you can visualize it properly. But here, one of the study is missing. It's beyond -1. Then we have to keep within 2. No, it's beyond the scale. So it's really, it's an odd man. I think after sensitivity analysis, we have to remove this one. Anyways, so next, second step, you have to study the heterogeneity test. How to perform this? Click the next table, note down the heterogeneity value. If you look at the Q value, is the 645, P value 0.000, which is less than 0.05. I square is 98%. It means heterogeneity is exists in the included study. So if the heterogeneity is exists, then you have to follow which model? It has to be random model. Now go to the next table, click the random model, and this is the results of your meta-analysis. Let's look at the high resolution plot. So here, the result of the meta-analysis, which one? You have to follow the last line. If you look at the last line, p-value is 0.804 and correlation value is 0.106. So the p-value is pretty higher than the 0.05. If it is less than 0.05, then the real correlation is present among these two molecules you have considered for this analysis. Since it is more than 0.05, that is 0.804, correlation between these two molecules is absent. But before drawing any conclusion, at first, you have to test the robustness of your analysis. To test the robustness of your analysis, you have to perform one study removed, that is sensitivity analysis. And if you look at the result of the sensitivity analysis, look at the p-value. When you remove the Selbst-Raj group, the p-value of the analysis become 0.000. It means the Selbst-Raj study, there's some problem there, and to draw a firm conclusion from this meta-analysis, this study has to be removed and you have to reanalyze the meta-analysis. And after removal of the study, by inclusion of other study, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 study, whatever the result you will obtain, that will be your final meta-analysis results. This study has to be removed. The study may have some error or whatever else, I don't know, because it is very, very different compared to the other study. And it is also proved by this sensitivity analysis, then this study has to be removed before concluding your meta-analysis. So in next step, you have to remove the study and reanalyze the meta-analysis, perform the whole test again, and look at the final value, that's the last line value of the meta-analysis. If the p-value is 0.0 less than 0.05, then you will say that yes, a correlation between IL-6 and CRP or any molecule that you have taken, it really exists in COVID patient. So now I will welcome any query, any questions from participant, any difficulty if you have, please let me know so that I can clarify.
Good afternoon,
The
sir.
more you'll repeat, more you'll explore this software, you'll learn several things. It needs to be explored. In one day, it is not possible that you will explore. Simultaneously, each and every day, try to learn something, try to explore it. There are several things happen. Several things are available here. You can decorate your figure also properly. You can put different color to the figure also. Please.
Good afternoon, sir. That was an excellent section, and we could learn new things from you, sir. Sir, my query is that how will we know how to remove a particular study from a meta-analysis?
Yeah, as I told you, that's why intentionally I have put one study that is very pretty odd to other study. That last example, as I show you, simply you have to not include that study in your meta-analysis. Let me do how you will remove it. Okay. Exactly same thing like this. Suppose here this study is creating a problem to us, right? Oh, sorry. Let me share. Okay, so my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So simple, you have to delete this study. It has to be removed because after analyzing the sensitivity analysis, after performing the sensitivity analysis, we found that this study is the main culprit. So it has to be removed. Simple, delete it. That's all, nothing else. Now you have to go for reanalyze, run the analysis. Okay. Now you have to go for all this stuff. You have to go for the publication bias test. You have to note down the all value, Agos regression intercept. You have to draw the funnel plot. And all this activity, you have to repeat it again. Let me go for the sensitivity analysis again, and I'll show how it has improved. Let me show you. Look at this. So if you go for this heterogeneity test, look at the heterogeneity test. P value is 0.0000, I value is 76%. It means heterogeneity exists here. If there is heterogeneity is present, then you have to go for random model. Let me test the random model. Look at the value, last line. P value is 0.000 and correlation value is 0.482. If you compare these final meta-analysis results with the previous one, in previously, when the Selvaraj et al. Has present, it shows there was no correlation between these two parameters. After removal of that study, which was intentionally placed by me, it shows that there is a strong correlation, strong positive correlation between these two parameters that we are studying. Because if you look at the p-value, this is 0.000 and 0.482. It means it's having positive correlation, right? Next, further, let's test what is this your sensitivity analysis again by one study removal. Look at the p-value. All are 0.000 and look at this R value also 0.49, 0.43, 0.450. So all are residing in one line. So it shows that your meta-analysis is robust now. Earlier, it was not robust. There was some problem in your meta-analysis.
Sir, so how will we know? So after only conducting this analysis only?
Yes. After conducting your sensitivity analysis, then only you will conclude that whether your meta-analysis is robust or not. If not robust, the garbage has to be thrown out. And another thing, you have to mention your manuscript that which study you have excluded and for why. It has to be clearly mentioned. So each and every step, whatever you are following here, that has to be reflected in your manuscript. That's the clear-cut guideline from different reporting agencies. That I told you, Stroop and your what are 4 or 5 that I have told you. So as per their guidelines, Prisma guidelines, you have each and every bit, whatever you are conducting in meta-analysis, it has to be reported, starting from your literature search, starting from your title to up to the conclusion. And you have to mention this in this manuscript when you are preparing the manuscript. Okay, any further query? So keep on practicing. One day you will be an expert.
Sir, excuse.
Yes.
So myself, Vineet. So my question is, so basically in our inclusion criteria, we should see that all these studies are doing the same kind of data, same kind of analysis techniques.
Absolutely. Because for meta-analysis, first thing is that you have to include those studies, those are work in a similar fashion. For example, suppose I am looking for efficacy of drug A against a particular disease, per se TB, right? If whenever I'm searching in paper and found that efficacy of drug A against malaria, I cannot include that study. The study has to be conducted in a similar background. your output, study output, result output, the value that you are taking into consideration for meta-analysis, it has to be similar. The scale may be changed. You have to rearrange the scale. Something is somebody has presented in picogram, you have to convert into microgram. But the study style, the methodology, and reading output all has to be in similar fashion. If it is something different, you cannot include those studies.
Okay, sir.
And another important thing is that suppose if you are studying this efficacy of drug A, right, and all of your study are showing more than 80% efficacy. It means, in other words, I would like to say, if the observation is not contradictory to each other, it is really simple valueless to perform meta-analysis. So there should be some contradiction. If some results are contradictory each other, and you will perform the meta-analysis, that meta-analysis will tell you what is the reality. Because for any experiment, if you perform in human population, it always varies. Whatever something working in Indian population, it may not work in US population. So most of the time we will have contradictory findings. And the contradictory finding is the real base for this meta-analysis. To draw a common conclusion, strong conclusion, more strengthened conclusion, you have to perform a meta-analysis that will dig out the reality of this, whatever your hypothesis, from various odds. So it has to be in similar backgrounds. Then only you can perform the meta-analysis.
Okay, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So first of all, it's a wonderful presentation and really insightful. So my doubt is whether a person or a people without any base background in statistics carry out these studies, use this technology. Because I belong to social science faculty, so I do not know many of these terminologies, so correlations, and political science.
Right, so political science, right?
So how it will help us to carry out the studies, and without even a correlation or standard deviation, these aspects we do not know. I tried to follow you, but I could not complete it. So that's why I'm asking.
First thing, sir, actually, we need some background statistics, sir. Only that statistics will be used for meta-analysis. Without a background statistics, we cannot perform meta-analysis. For example, as I showed you, one chi-square. Chi-square can be used when you are comparing between two groups and data are in percentage format, right? We have given a drug to 100 individuals. 5 individuals show some symptom. Another 100 individual we give another drugs, and 10 individuals show symptom. So one is for 5%, another for 10%. And if you look at, if you try to compare those, then you have to follow the chi-square test. So basic statistics, any paper, if they are dealing with statistics, and that paper, similar kind of paper can be dig out and you can perform a meta-analysis. Without statistics, we cannot perform a meta-analysis because it's a quantitative type. Quantity has to be there. Without quantity, we cannot perform meta-analysis.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So one more question. Vineet itself. Yes, sir. Sir, my question is, should we follow the same some software support like Cadema, etc. for SLR, which is used for SLR? The same thing should we use it for these inclusion exclusion criteria explanations? Or we actually, just write it. That's it. Or no, write a flowchart.
You have to write a flowchart. First thing. There is, I have shared one Prisma flowchart. Just click in Google in Prisma flowchart. They have clearly mentioned what has to be the format. In first step, they have mentioned which database you have used, how many paper you got from the database. It has to be clearly mentioned. Second step, exclusion step. So which paper you have excluded, not how many paper you have excluded, and what was the reason. Third step, so total number of paper you have included for this meta-analysis. So
Sure.
there is a guideline. They are having ready-made Excel, ready-made your flow chart. Just you have to give your number there. That's
sure, sure. So because this Prisma protocol was used using this software. I attended a workshop on SLR. I mean systematic literature review. In that particular, they explained how to use this software for SLR. So that's what I asked.
Okay. It's a manual one. What I'm talking about, Prisma guidelines, it's already available on their website.
Yes, manual is better. Manual is better. The other one is very complicated.
Yes.
Sir, how can we collect our background data? That means, other than the regular one, can we use the Google Scholar?
Yeah, Miss. Google Scholar is the most perfect platform nowadays.
Web of Science.
Yes. Any platform, but it has to be mentioned in your manuscript. Whatever the platform you have used, it has to be clearly mentioned. At least you have to use 2 or more than that. One.
Pardon, sir, you use more than one site or one source?
Yeah, more than 2 or more than that. Source tool, whatever the source tool you will use, that has to be clearly mentioned in your manuscript, and the source tool must be 2 or more than that. It may be Google Scholar, it may be Scopus, it may be Google Science Direct, anything you can use.
So,
but at least 2.
Thank you, sir.